Hi, this is Silver with Atomic Disc, and today we have the great pleasure of speaking with Taylor Bradshaw, a singer-songwriter out of New York who's been doing music for about 15 years. And he's seen immense success the last few years using digital marketing to sell his CDs and vinyl and reach a larger fan base using very certain specific steps, which he'll share with us now. So thanks for joining us, Taylor.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for taking me on this podcast, Silver.
We've manufactured tens and thousands of CDs for you in a day and age where people don't really think that anybody buys CDs. So how are you managing to get through so many, and what's the secret to your success on that?
Sure. Well, first off, thank you for manufacturing tens of thousands of CDs for me. That's step one. But yeah, I took music marketing really seriously. The last 4 years, I'd say, is when I first really got into it. And so one of the main strategies that I've been using that I learned from a company called Indepreneur is a free plus shipping campaign, where basically I put out ads on Instagram and Facebook of me performing songs, and then I offer a free CD. All they have to do is cover shipping, and they go into a funnel where they can buy some more CDs or vinyl or something. And all in all, it breaks even while making my fan base grow a lot. And then I can monetize on the back end and build this wonderful career that I'm seeing.
So do you want to show us some of those ads that you actually are getting traffic?
Yeah, sure. Let me walk you through some of that. So I'm pulling up. This is just one of my ads. I have a bunch of ads I'm always testing out, but this one was pretty successful. And you see it's just me performing in the forest with lyrics. I use live audio for this stuff. Some people do better with lip syncing. Um, and then I just say I want to mail you a free CD with some extra stuff. I have the link in there. I mean, this is a preview, but there should be a button that says, learn more. And then when they learn more, they bounce over to this page. And this is just a big sales page. So get my free CD. They can either just click that if they're totally sold. Otherwise, if they keep on scrolling, I need more selling. So show some more of my music, tell them exactly what they get, people are saying about it, mini doc. It just keeps on going with more stuff, buttons throughout. And yeah, it's just also relevant is that this is being shown to primarily new people. So not actually existing fans. These are people who are seeing me for the first time from this ad, and then they're going on this journey with me.
Yeah. So on that site, you have multiple links to the same place, right?
Yeah. So every button goes to the same checkout page. And the reason that there's so many buttons is because pretty much if they're totally sold, they'll just click the first one. If they're not, they'll keep on scrolling. And I mean, if you looked at this on a phone, you'd see there's about one thumb swipe worth of content before each additional button. So that's more and more for them. And there's no other buttons on this page, no header or anything like that, because I really want them to either take this action or just exit out.
Exactly, because you're very clear on exactly what you want them to do. Not
Yeah.
like look at a bunch of other stuff. Just get the free CD. And then when they do that, they give you their email address, right?
Yeah. So when they do this, they give me their email address. So they're signed up to my mailing list, and then I have a series of emails that goes off, once every few days, just giving them new stuff. The day after they purchase, I say like, "Hey, like, thank you. Here's a treat. Like, here's an unreleased song that I'm performing. That you only get because you took this action, and it's a gift for you." Uh, and other things like that. And what's really wonderful about it too is I now have all of their addresses, like physical addresses, because I'm sending them physical merch. And so I actually have a spreadsheet with all of their zip codes because I'm in the US. And from there, I can see what cities have what number of customers in it. And that's really useful for touring because as soon as the number hits over 100, it's like, okay, I could book a solid concert there.
Very good. So do you look at your analytics and know like which of those buttons get the most clicks?
Yeah, I don't actually know how to do the analytics as well, just because all the buttons show up as the same thing because they're all named the same thing. But I get like overall
So you
sense
don't really
of
know how far are they scrolling before they take the bait.
exactly. So I don't know that, but I do know how many people see the ads, how many people click through, how many people see then the checkout page, how many of those actually check out. So I see the numbers that are most important.
Yeah, so I've looked at your website and seen that it's $5 in shipping to get your free CD. So that barely breaks you even, right? Or do you make a couple of pennies on it? Because when you can account for the cost of the CD and the envelope and the postage.
Right. So also the cost of serving them an ad to get them to go, that's actually the biggest cost. Um, so if they buy a CD, I don't make if they just do the $5 shipping thing, I don't make any money off of that. And in fact, I lose money because I spent money on ads to get them. However, where this starts to work, I'm going to do another screen share, is so where this starts to work is that they can leave a donation if they want. You'll see it in a sec. And so it's automatically filled with 0, but they can add more if they want to. And then from there we go. Pay what you want, even if it's 0, it's automatically 0. However, they can also add this other CD as well. Just like, oh, bam, it's only $7. And from there, once they complete that, they see another CD where it's like, hey, you can't actually stream this live CD. It only exists as a CD form, and I'll give you a digital form of it as well if you buy it. And then, like after that, I'm like, do you want this original album that I was going to give you, Twine? Do you want that on vinyl? And adding some products farther down, we call these upsells. That's where the money really starts to come in. And the point of this whole campaign is really just to break even. So that adds a lot more revenue when people buy these other things. But my goal is overall just break even. And if it's a little bit more than break even, then I increase my daily ad spend. And from there, just sell a bunch of stuff. And then I can sell to them again in the future using email. And then that costs me nothing. It's pure profit.
And you have like an automated email sequence set up once people give you their email address. So
Yes.
how many emails do you send people automatically once they have signed up?
So a total of 4 that doesn't include like shipping confirmations. So like first they get one that's like, hey, like thank you so much. I wanted to share a few things like and ask some questions. And I just ask them a few like fun questions about themselves and be like, you can reply right here and I'll talk to you. And people really love that. And then I share my answers too. And it's just a little bonding thing. And then they receive that that unreleased song the next day, and then some other stuff a few days later, and so on. And then after that, I have a 30-day, I think a 3-week timer before they enter in my general mailing list, so that they're not getting spammed with too many emails, and they have a chance to actually receive the product. And then from there, I'm sending emails about once a week. And then like every roughly like month and a half, one of those emails is going to be a offer series where I sell something new to them. But in the meantime, it's all just nurturing and bringing them into the world.
That's great. So back to the free CD that you're shipping out. Can I ask you what kind of shipping method are you using to keep your costs down?
Sure. I'm using media mail for everything that I can, which is very affordable. However, I may switch to a different form of mail because it actually is almost the same cost. With media mail, if there's some problem in the address, and they ship it back to you, you actually have to pay USPS for the shipping it back to you, which you wouldn't have to in others. So I might switch that, but it's not very expensive. And especially for vinyl. I mean, vinyl would be very expensive to ship without the media mail option.
Right. Yeah, because it's pretty big, so that brings up the price. Yeah. So, with all of these automated features you have, what kind of apps are you using to make this all work? Or what's your website built on, and what email marketing platform are you using?
Sure. So I use a bunch of things all integrated and talking to each other. I built my website on WordPress using the builder Elementor Pro. And then when they go to checkout, they go to Thrivecart. That's my funnel builder. From there, Thrivecart communicates with ShipStation, which manages all the orders and buys all of the shipping labels. And also, they get entered into Drip, which is my email system.
Okay. Very cool. So, then another big landing page you have on your site is the escape into the evergreen. Do
Yeah,
you run ads directly for that, or is that something that people get funneled to after they've gotten your free CD and got to know you a little better?
sure. So, Escape into the Evergreen is a 5-day EP experience where they see a bunch of behind the scenes stuff and really get brought into the world with like a email and a landing page built for each day, all the stuff that people wouldn't see normally. And so that was actually an effort I did before I did the free plus shipping campaign for CDs. It was to celebrate the release of my EP at the time. And it was a way to get a bunch of opt-ins. It's they get all this stuff for free, and then at the very end of it, I offer them a cute little bundle to commemorate the whole thing. And some people buy it, some people don't. So that was a really great way to one just get the tech built out and try my hand at this stuff, but two also really nurture a lot of people. So today, that's not something that I run ads to. It's more of something that if somebody doesn't want to buy a CD right away, what they can do is join Escape to the Evergreen for free. And that just, I get their email and zip code, and they get all this awesome free experience stuff. And so it's a good way to scoop up some people who aren't ready to buy yet, and it's also a good way to just give some more to the people who have bought, because I send them a button and it's like, if you click this button, then it'll start Escape into the Evergreen for you. Just brings them farther into my world.
Yeah, it's very community based. It's like you have created a community, and it's very. It feels very much like we get to know you very personally. Do you ever feel
Yeah,
like you're giving too much of yourself, that there's like not enough distance between you and your fans, or are you like, what's your comfort level there?
it can be overwhelming sometimes. I think what gets really overwhelming is trying to answer all the emails, because I try and really stay on top of those. And there are definitely times where I have to draw boundaries with people. Some people, especially with my music that's more emotional, some people are looking to fix something in their life by engaging with this. And when they find that the thing isn't fixed, they sometimes could lash out in certain ways. And so I've had to learn to keep a bit of emotional distance as far as that goes. Now, that being said, that is the tiny minority of people. Most people are just so appreciative and wonderful. And so, yeah, I mean, I really welcome the possibility of, forging relationships with people and really getting to know my fans. Like some of them, I'm going out for a concert in Indiana this weekend, and the people out there feel like an extended family, and I really welcome those kinds of connections. I think it's really beautiful.
Cool. Do you have a team that you work with, or are you doing all of this on your own?
I am doing most of this on my own, but I do have help with shipping and fulfillment. So I hire my cousin and my grandma actually to fulfill the orders. Yeah, Yeah, initially it was just my cousin, and then my grandma was like, "I want in on this." I'm like, "Okay, grandma," and she loves it and is amazing at it. So she's amazing. So that's my main help there, and then I also have a mentor that I work with from Indepreneur, which is the agency where I learned all how to do all of this stuff. Uh, so Jesse's amazing and really works me through doing some of this stuff because I'm in the advanced stages of what you can do with music marketing. So the mentorship really helps.
Yeah, so I was going to ask you, can you show us the landing page for the Escape into the Evergreen and the stuff that you offer in that regards?
Absolutely. All right. So I'm pulling up my homepage. And so Escape into the Evergreen, it's hidden down here. So there's a little video sales letter. Like, this is not a sales letter. It's because I'm not selling them anything yet. Um, so yeah, click to claim your invite. Just a little video about, that's internet's slow to get today. Yeah, a little video about what this is, and then claim your invite, and then a bit more that shares all the stuff that happens. Picture. Then when you do that, first name, email, and then zip code. I let them know up front, like, I'm collecting your zip codes because I want to play concerts near you, and people want to give you a zip code if it means that you'll come to their town and play for them.
Yeah, exactly. And that's another point I'm sure Entrepreneur talks about, that you don't ask for more information than what you actually need, right? So the zip code is very useful because you're going to tour, but you don't necessarily need their phone number and their whole address and all that for that purpose, right?
Exactly. Yeah, you don't want to create any more friction than you need to. That being said, throwing in the zip code, you might be like, all right, it's worth it for maybe some small percentage of people less actually join this thing, but it's worth it to me to have their zip codes in
Yeah.
order to know where I can go tour. And so you make,
And it's great that you make it optional too.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so your website, which is where you direct people to, so your homepage has a lot of information on it. Do you want to show us some of that?
Absolutely. So my homepage is really serving as a place where it scoops up anyone who maybe didn't go to the place that I intended to direct them to. So most of my ads, they send you to, just this one place, like get this free CD or, do this action. My homepage is supposed to be a bunch of other stuff for the people who end up here, because a lot of them do. And so it starts with the most common thing that people are looking for, which is to get the free CD, because maybe they didn't see the button or maybe they didn't have the money at the time, but now they do. And so that's the most common thing. So there's a button for that. Now, I organize this in just the most common to the less common. Say they're not looking for the CD. This is one scroll down. You're more of a vinyl person, because that's the next most common thing I hear is like, I don't want a CD, but I would love this on vinyl. And so that's the next thing. Then after that, you can request a concert in your hometown, because people are constantly asking me about touring and like when I'm coming to their town. So like, okay, let's have a button where they can request a concert, and that way, it adds up more people. And if I see 100 people in an area, I know I can book a concert. You
Yeah,
keep
what
on
happens
going.
if they click that button?
It's just first name, email, and zip code. Yeah. And so then there's Escape into the Evergreen, which we spoke about. Then this. So like, here's the thing: is there's all these different buttons and options. Absolutely every single one is either selling them a thing or getting their email. That's what this is, from the most common to the less common. And it's also all based on fan DMs and comments and stuff. I see what people are asking about and asking for the most. I'm like, okay, well, that's the next most likely. That's the next most likely. And so that's what the homepage is. It's like all the different actions that can bring them into my world. What you won't see on here is any link to Spotify or social media, because social media is how they discovered me. I'm not going to send them back there. Like, this is, I tried so hard to bring them into my world. Let's go deeper, not more shallow. So that's the purpose of the website, is really to bring people deeper by either selling them something or getting their email address, or also just sharing more information. So looking at lyrics and things like that, get people to um, actually get deeper in. They're looking for more info. But on all of those pages, there's always going to be a button somewhere on the page where they can at least snag, at least like do their email address. And so that's the whole purpose of my website, is to bring people in deeper.
So if they hit the contact button in the upper right there, what kind of contact information are you giving out? Is there a mailing address there, or?
It's a good question. Yeah, it's a form. Because if Exactly, yeah. And so that goes to my mailing inbox. I don't put my actual address on there, only because of bots. This filters out the bots. Um, but when they do send an email, it goes to my actual email, and then from there, I'm just emailing back and forth normal.
So just a one-on-one personal conversation.
Absolutely, I have those constantly. I'm getting emails every day from fans.
Yeah. So, would you be willing to share some of your numbers on the back end of your ads? Like, how much are you spending to get this working? Or
Yeah. So right now, I think I'm around $200 a day in ad spend. The only reason I'm able to afford that is because people are actually buying stuff and paying it back in real time. You know, and a huge side effect of running these ads is, like, most people don't buy the CD when they see this ad. However, a ton of people are becoming fans because they're seeing music and they're getting exposed to it for the first time. And maybe they don't buy this CD, but maybe they buy a vinyl later. Maybe they come to a concert. And so a huge number of people get exposed to it. When I got this up to its largest point, which was um, very overwhelming this winter, I got up to, I think, close to $1,400 a day in ad spend.
wow.
Yeah, I was selling over 150 packages every single day, and that was wild. We got absolutely steamrolled when that
Well, that's
happened.
pretty awesome. But that's a
Yeah,
lot of money to spend, though. And I mean, how did you start? Did you start with a smaller budget? Even $200 a day is a lot for a lot of people. So
yeah,
how much did you start with, and did you just build it up slowly, or?
sure. So what I actually started with when I started trying to make one of these campaigns was $10 a day, and it didn't work at all. And so, like, I tried it again at $20 a day, and it kind of worked a little bit. But I was like, a lot of that was just trying to see, workshopping all the pages and the ads and stuff to be like, is anyone going to take this at all? And what I found was, once I got that dialed in at those lower spends, and I took a leap of faith and tried $50 a day. And that's when I started seeing some real success. And what was interesting is $50 a day is not just 5 times the result of $10 a day, because actually Facebook is able to access more expensive people to access. So
What do
they're
you mean
not
by
just,
that?
what I mean is, they're always, for Meta, there's always a bidding war of ad space. And so some people who buy more stuff, or are more likely to buy, actually cost more to get put in front of. Now, we don't make any of these decisions on the back end. We just tell them our budget and go along with it. But if Meta doesn't have enough money to properly show this to the kinds of people who are likely to buy your stuff, then it'll show it to a bunch of people that might not. And so there's a weird, like, breaking point as far as just giving it enough budget to actually accomplish the thing that it needs to accomplish and make enough sales in, like, within a week, in order for it to, like, actually learn what it's doing with this campaign. And so it does require a bit of budget. I would recommend to people just starting out, like, try it at $10 a day, workshop it, keep on doing this. Like, I think I did like 30 campaigns before I found one that really hit. But when I did, it was life changing. And so, I I always actually start at $100 a day if I'm doing a new campaign, just because I've done this so much. I'm so confident in what I've built, and I know it'll work to some degree. And so, what I do from there is I scale every. I have it scaling 3 times a week by 5%. So if I'm making money, increase the budget by 5%. If I'm breaking even, just keep it the same. And if I'm losing money, decrease the budget by 5%. And I keep those rules to try and make myself make less emotional marketing decisions, because that that never helps things. And it's easy to get emotional when you're running things like this.
Yeah, it's easy to freak out. It's like, oh, I spent $200 a day and nothing happened,
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like when you have a day and you lose hundreds of dollars, it's like, I hope that doesn't happen again tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So with all the stuff that you've done, how long have you been doing this?
Yeah, so I started I started with music when I was 15, so that's been like over 15 years now. But I started with my solo project. I released my first single for my solo project in 2018, and then my first solo album in 2020. And that's what really got me to want to learn marketing, is because I just needed to put this thing out there. I was doing a bunch of, I was doing like trying to get on like playlists and blog posts and a lot of magical thinking that would actually move the needle. And so that's when I stumbled across Entrepreneur in 2020. And that's where I learned how to do all this music marketing that was very much focused on just building real fans, focusing on the one-to-one relationship with them, and selling stuff to them, and not worrying about all these numbers that don't mean anything. Like, what really matters is having a bunch of fans that are real fans and growing that. And so I've been working on that since 2020. And it's definitely been a journey. Sometimes I'm more motivated, sometimes less. But about a year and a half ago is when I started really getting serious about this. And a year ago is roughly when I had my first success with the free plus shipping campaign with CDs. That grew my mailing list from like 400 something to like well over 9,000 people. And so that's made all the difference in the world.
Yeah, so how big is your email list now, if I may ask?
Yeah, it's a little over 9,000 at the moment. And it's growing every day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and those are very targeted people who's actually shown an interest in you, right? So they're actually, you're not just throwing it out there on social media. It's people who's actually interested.
Right. I mean, almost all of these people have spent money on
Yeah,
my music.
yeah.
So they're very interested, they're very engaged. And, like I'm starting to get playful with some of the results of this campaign finally. I'm doing a house concert tour this summer,
Yes, I saw that.
and
That looks cool.
it's going to be so much fun. It's just started. I was amazed that people would be willing to spend 1,500, 2,500, $3,000 on one of these concerts. I just didn't think that anyone would do it, but actually, plenty of people will do it. Hardly any, when you think of percentages, hardly any of them. But when it's a percentage of 9,000, well, now you have enough to fill up an entire summer and get paid really well for performing original music, which is wild.
So is this your full-time gig, or do you have a day job like most other people?
Yeah, so I'm kind of on the in between. Every time that I think I'm full time with music, I'm like, oh, maybe not yet quite. So I'm also an audio engineer. I edit podcasts and work on movie sets and stuff like that.
Oh, that's
Um,
fun too.
yeah, it's a great day job, but it's definitely a day job. And so I'm in the awkward in between where I don't really have too much time to work on a day job. And I'm hoping that this music thing keeps up as it is, because at this rate, it should be my full time thing this year.
Yeah, so how many hours a week do you think you're spending on your marketing efforts?
Um, a lot. I don't know. I'd say like, at, I mean, at least 10. It really depends on what kind of project I'm working on. So if I'm doing a big push, then it could turn into a 40-hour week. Or if I'm just maintaining things and stepping back a little bit, then it could be as slow as like 5 to 10 hours. But I'm including responding to fans and having conversations with them as part of marketing because it all kind of is one thing. Really, just anything that's not the act of making music, I'm putting into that bucket.
Yeah. So what would you say to artists that are relying only on digital streaming, who don't really see the value of physical media anymore?
Yeah, I would say that if you're making a living from streaming, good on you. That's awesome. That's the case for almost nobody, though, and probably, you know, I will say something that's, you know, I hear a lot like, oh, people don't buy CDs anymore. Like, and they clearly do. We've we've shipped out this year like tens of thousands of CDs. They buy them. I'm sure a lot of them don't even have CD players. A lot of them buy CD players in order to play my CD. A lot of them don't have any interest in doing that. They just like the package that they get and they want to support and they want everything that is coming into this world, the fact that it's autographed, it's just a point of connection. And I'll say my streaming has absolutely skyrocketed over the last year and turned into a significant source of revenue for me. And that happened because I started ignoring streaming and selling CDs. And because I was doing that, people will look it up on Spotify and they stream. But it's a side effect and not actually a direct effort from me. The best thing I've ever done for my streaming is ignore it.
Yeah, so the physical aspect of media and the connection, like you said, you're taking it quite far, which is really awesome. You're even like there's a pressed flower that comes with your CD. It's like you're putting a lot of effort into it and making it very unique and special.
Yeah, yeah, it's very important to make this feel like more than just a CD. You know, other people add other fun things, like my friend adds a Pokemon card to his, like just like silly things that just increase the perceived value of this thing and make it feel like a real experience and not just a CD.
And it's really, I mean, it's golden what you've shared. It's very, very cool.
I'm so glad. And
Yeah.
yeah, I do want to say to anyone who is thinking about trying this, if you feel stuck in your musical journey or feel like even if you don't feel stuck in your musical journey and just feel like you want to explore some other options, say you want to go on tour, but like you don't have fans like enough to support in these different places, all these things, like I highly recommend getting into digital marketing for your music. It will change your life and it works. It really works. Um, and, you know, just trust the people who tell you it's going to be a lot of work. Don't trust anyone who's going to say, like, oh, just these 5 simple hacks. Like, no, like, it's a lot of work, but it is so worth it because you start seeing the results of these and start being able to tour and having like real connections with people and reading all these like I get lots of physical fan mail too that like people are letting me know how like my music has really benefited them in their lives and it's actually making a positive difference in a lot of people's lives in a way that I couldn't have done if I wasn't doing the music marketing because they just wouldn't be exposed to it. And so I highly recommend getting on that. I learned all of this stuff from Indepreneur, and we'll drop a link in the show notes.
Yep.
And I highly recommend checking that out. Um, I know this seems probably like a lot of info to like try to set up a thing like this, but they make it really simple and step by step. They walk you through every single bit of it in a way that you can follow along with videos, and that's how I did this whole thing is by learning from them and doing their method. So strongly recommend checking them out. They're one of the very few people in this industry that I really completely trust, and it's changed my life uh, doing music marketing like this.
Yeah. They're pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah, they're
Yeah.
awesome people.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Taylor. I really appreciate it.
Of
It's
course.
awesome talking to you.
Thank you so much for having me, Silver. It's been great to meet you and chat today.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I don't know, let's take it a step at a time. I think you want to see him again. Yes, in fact, I know he's always on your mind. When I hold you, I break down now and then. Don't tell me I'm strong, don't be too unkind. Just tell me that you're not the one. I have found a new one. You're not the one. I have found a new one. I think we both know exactly what this means. So take your books and the pages underlined.